Matcha, also spelled maccha, refers to finely milled or fine powder green tea. The Japanese tea ceremony centers on the preparation, serving, and drinking of matcha. In modern times, matcha has also come to be used to flavor and dye foods such as mochi and soba noodles, green tea ice cream and a variety of wagashi. Matcha is a fine ground, powdered, high-quality green tea and not the same as konacha. Blends of matcha are given poetic names called chamei either by the producing plantation, shop or creator of the blend, or by the Grand Master of a particular tea tradition. When a blend is named by the Grand Master of some tea ceremony lineage, it becomes known as the Master's konomi, or favoured blend. History: in Tang Dynasty China, tea leaves were steamed and formed into tea bricks for storage and trade. The tea was prepared by roasting and pulverizing the tea, and decocting the resulting tea powder in hot water, adding salt. In the Song Dynasty, the method of making powdered tea from steam-prepared dried tea leaves, and preparing the beverage by whipping the tea powder and hot water together in a bowl became popular. Preparation and consumption of powdered tea was formed into a ritual by Zen Buddhists. The earliest Chan monastic code in existence, entitled Kingi, describes in detail the etiquette for tea ceremonies. Zen Buddhism and the Chinese methods of preparing powdered tea were brought to Japan in 1191 by the monk Isai. Although powdered tea has not been popular in China for some time, there is now a global resurgence in matcha tea including in China. In Japan it continued to be an important item at Zen monasteries, and became highly appreciated by others in the upper echelons of society during the 14th through 16th centuries. Production: matcha is made from shade-grown tea leaves also used to make gyokuro. The preparation of matcha starts several weeks before harvest and can last up to 20 days, when the tea bushes are covered to prevent direct sunlight. This slows down growth, stimulates an increase in chlorophyll levels, turns the leaves a darker shade of green, and causes the production of amino acids, in particular L-theanine. Only the finest tea buds are hand-picked. After harvesting, if the leaves are rolled out before drying as usual, the result will be gyokuro tea. However, if the leaves are laid out flat to dry, they will crumble somewhat and become known as tenka. Tenka can then be deveined, destemmed, and stone ground to the fine, bright green, talc-like powder known as matcha. It can take up to 1 hour to grind 30 grams of matcha. Note that only ground tenka qualifies as matcha, and other powdered green teas, such as powdered sencha, are known as konacha. The flavor of matcha is dominated by its amino acids. The highest grades of matcha have more intense sweetness and deeper flavor than the standard or coarser grades of tea harvested later in the year. Grades: in general, matcha is expensive compared to other forms of tea, although its price depends on its quality. Grades of matcha are defined by many factors. Location on the tea bush, where leaves destined for tenka are picked on the tea bush, is vital. The very top should have developing leaves that are soft and supple. This gives a finer texture to higher grades of matcha. More developed leaves are harder, giving lower grades a sandy texture. The better flavor is a result of the plant sending the majority of its nutrients to the growing leaves. Treatment before processing: tenka leaves are traditionally dried outside in the shade and are never exposed to direct sunlight. However, drying has mostly moved indoors. Quality matcha is vibrantly green also as a result of this treatment. Stone grinding: without the right equipment and technique, matcha can become burnt, and suffer degraded quality. Typically in Japan matcha is stone ground to a fine powder through the use of specially designed granite stone mills. Oxidation: oxidation is also a factor in determining grade. Matcha exposed to oxygen can easily become compromised. Oxidized matcha has a distinctive hay-like smell and a dull brownish-green color. Traditional preparation: there are two main ways of preparing matcha, thick and thin. Prior to use, the matcha is often forced through a sieve in order to break up clumps. There are special sieves available for this purpose, which are usually stainless steel and combine a fine wire mesh sieve and a temporary storage container. A special wooden spatula is used to force the tea through the sieve, or a small, smooth stone may be placed on top of the sieve and the device shaken gently. If the sieved matcha is to be served at a Japanese tea ceremony, it will then be placed into a small tea caddy known as a chaki. Otherwise, it can be scooped directly from the sieve into a tea bowl. A small amount of matcha is placed into the bowl, traditionally using a bamboo scoop called a kashaku, and then a modicum of hot water is added. The mixture is then whisked to a uniform consistency, using a bamboo whisk known as a chazen. There must be no lumps left in the liquid, and no ground tea should remain on the sides of the bowl. Because matcha can be bitter, it is traditionally served with a small wagashi sweet, and without added milk or sugar. It is usually considered that 40 g of matcha will provide for 20 bowls of usucha or 10 bowls of konacha. Usucha, or thin tea, is prepared with approximately 1.75 grams of matcha and approximately 75 milliliters of hot water per serving, which can be whisked to produce froth or not, according to the drinker's preference. Usucha creates a lighter and slightly more bitter tea. Konacha, or thick tea, requires significantly more matcha, approximately 3.75 grams of matcha and approximately 40 milliliters of hot water per serving, or as many as 6 teaspoons to 3/4 cup of water. Because the resulting mixture is significantly thicker, blending it requires a slower, stirring motion that does not produce foam. Konacha is normally made with more expensive matcha from older tea trees and, thus, produces a milder and sweeter tea than usucha. It is served almost exclusively as part of Japanese tea ceremonies. Other uses. It is used in castella, manja, and monaca. As a topping for kakigori. Mixed with milk and sugar as a drink. And mixed with salt and used to flavor tempura in a mixture known as matcha tea. It is also used as flavoring in many Western-style chocolates, candy, and desserts, such as cakes and pastries, cookies, pudding, mousse, and green tea ice cream. The Japanese snack pocky has a matcha-flavored version. Matcha may also be mixed into other forms of tea. For example, it is added to genmaker to form what is called matcha ire genmaker. The use of matcha in modern drinks has also spread to North American cafe copyright S, such as Starbucks, which introduced green tea lattes, and other matcha-flavored drinks after matcha became successful in their Japan store locations. As in Japan, it has become integrated into lattes, iced drinks, milkshakes, and smoothies. A number of cafes have introduced lattes and iced drinks using matcha powder. It has also been incorporated into alcoholic beverages such as liqueurs and even matcha green tea beers. Basic matcha teaware, the equipment required for the making of matcha are, tea bowl, large enough to whisk the fine powder tea around 120 milliliters, tea whisk, a bamboo whisk with fine bristles to whisk or whip the tea foam, teaspoon, also called tea scoop, a bamboo spoon to measure the powder tea into the tea bowl. Not the same as a Western teaspoon. Tea caddy, container for the matcha powder tea, tea cloth, small cotton cloth for cleaning tea wear during the tea ceremony. Health benefits. Matcha can now be found in numerous health food products ranging from cereal to energy bars. In 2003, researchers from the University of Colorado found that the concentration of the antioxidant EGCG available from drinking matcha is at least 3 times greater than the amount of EGCG available from other commercially available green teas. The aforementioned health benefits of matcha green tea may be attributed to the fact that the whole tea leaf is ingested, as opposed to just the steeped water in the case of bagged green teas. This means that it delivers a much higher potency of catechins, chlorophyll, and antioxidants. By weight, matcha contains several dozen times more antioxidants than blueberries, wolfberries, pomegranates, orange juice, spinach or dark chocolate. There is evidence from clinical studies that suggests that theanine, when consumed by drinking Japanese green teas, may help to reduce or moderate mental stress responses. A study by Cao et al. Reported the following: we found that EGCG significantly reduced food intake and body weight. This highlights how matcha green tea works to suppress your appetite through regulating hormones such as leptin, which tell your brain that you are satisfied and full. Furthermore, A recent publication by the American Society of Clinical Nutrition found that frequent consumption of quality matcha green tea enhances the efficiency of the human body in utilizing energy. The research showed that the daily energy expenditure rate of adults increases 35 to 45% with regular consumption of matcha green tea. Gallery. See also, List of Japanese teas, green tea ice cream, references. External links. Preparation of matcha in the traditional Japanese tea ceremony.